Hi, I'm Phil Constantine, and this is Travels with Phil. I used to work at NASA. I worked at the Johnson Space Center, the last two missions on Apollo and all of the Skylab missions. Now, I was a lowly computer operator there. In fact, I was just about the youngest person there working at the time. And I worked in what was called the Real-Time Computer Complex. And that was on the first floor, what was called the Mission Operations Wing, or Building 30. And up above me were the two floors where they had the actual mission control, a place that you see on TV where all the folks are sitting out there at all the monitors and the desk and all that kind of stuff. The folks are actually running the missions while I work down on the first floor. Now, I normally work the overnight shift. And that was an interesting thing, and I really was excited about it and very happy to be there. Well, now, my job, I had special clearance to go up to the third floor so I could change some paper in one of the printers that was directly dealing with the Apollo Lunar Surface Experiments program, package I should say, ALSEP, A-L-S-E-P. And because of that, I had special badges, and I'll show them here. I had a special badge that allowed me to get up to the third floor. Well, the clearance for that particular spot also was the same clearance to get into the viewing room behind Mission Control. Now, this is the place where VIPs, family members, etc., could come in and watch what was going on the where all the controllers were, all the folks you see on TV. This was the viewing room behind there. Now, during my regular working sessions, I usually work the overnight shift. I would often go spend my lunch hour or my lunch break. I wouldn't eat back there, but I'd spend it back there just watching what was going on. And there wasn't much to see during non-missions, but during a mission, it was interesting to go back there and see that. And especially on the overnight shift, there weren't hardly any people around, so nobody really made a big deal about it. But as with a lot of government things, if you're not supposed to be there, even if you technically have clearance for, you're probably not supposed to be there. Well, sometimes though, I decided I'd go sit back there and see if I could, see how long they'd let me sit there. And actually, I sat through one splashdown, and nobody asked me to leave, and Alan Shepard wound up coming in and sitting right next to me, and that was one of the Skylab splashdowns. So I was there for one, and I figured, okay, well, I'll just try my luck. My shift was over, so I'd just sit there and then until somebody asked me to leave. Well, this was the last break before they had the landing. And there were only like 2 or 3 controllers on the floor. They weren't talking directly to the astronauts at the moment. And Chris Kraft was there. Well, Christopher Columbus Kraft, interesting name, was the head guy in Houston at the Johnson Space Center. And this was not the kind of guy you wanted on your case. Matter of fact, you wanted to be very low profile around him. No, don't get me wrong. It wasn't mean or anything. It's just that if you were doing something wrong, he'd let you know about it. Put it that way. Well, he was one of the few people that was down on the floor. So I'm just sitting there, trying to be nonchalant. Nobody else in the room at this time, the viewing room, and he's out there at the control monitor, panels or whatever. And he turns around and looks at me. Then he stares at me. Well, I decided, well, I'm not going to leave because then that might make him think something was wrong. And so I'm just going to sit there and pretend like I'm supposed to be there. And so he keeps staring at me. Well, he stared at me for a couple of minutes. And now I'm starting to get nervous. Well, eventually, he turns around, grabs the phone, and then looks the other way. I figured, oh, well, okay, that's over with. So I don't think anything more about it. Well, about 5 minutes later, one of the PR guys who I recognized came in, said, "Hi, how you doing?" I said, "Oh, I'm doing fine." He says, "Well, we hope you enjoy the splashdown." I said, "Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that." And then he turned around and left, and I was going, what's going on here? So about 3 or 4 minutes, another PR guy comes in. He says, "Hi, who are you?" I said, "Oh, I'm Phil Constantine." I showed him my badge. He says, Oh, okay, well, that explains it." And I said, "Explains what?" And he says, "Well, you happen to bear an uncanny resemblance to Chris Kraft's son." Oh, okay. Now I understand why he kept staring at me. And it turns out Chris had invited his son to come for the splashdown, but he told him, I believe, as I remember it, he was at college and he didn't want to take time away from his studies to come down and see the splashdown. But as far as Chris Kraft was concerned, his son is up there just staring at him and not talking to him, and said he wasn't going to come, and there he was. He was trying to figure out why his son wasn't going to get up and come down and say hi. So, okay, well, the PR guy says, "Oh, okay, well, now I understand." He says, "Now, can I see your badge?" And I show him the badge. He says, you have a clearance? And I told him what I did. He says, oh, okay. So now you do realize this is for VIPs only, right? And I said, yeah, I just thought I'd sit here for a while. And then, the space got filled. He says, okay, well, you'll have to leave now. And I said, okay, and I did. But as it turns out, I bear, or at least back then, back in the 70s, early 70s, I had to look a whole lot alike to Chris Kraft's son. And that is just one interesting experience I had while working at the Johnson Space Center for NASA. And yes, during the moon flights, and in this case, probably Skylab. All right, I'm Phil Constantine. This is Travels with Phil. Thank you very much. You can leave a comment down below. And also, if if you haven't subscribed yet, you can click on that button over there, and that way you can subscribe to my channel and get all kinds of stories. Thanks a lot for watching.